I was thinking during the break and talking to Steve Quayle, SteveQuayle.com. I was thinking about the fact that they've had hundreds of thousands of new cases of TB in the last couple of years. They've got huge TB facilities now, very quietly, with drug-resistant immune TB, people dying. Leprosy's gone from no cases to tens of thousands a year, government's own numbers. You're not supposed to talk about that. But that's nothing compared to these gene guns, thousands of factories randomly shooting genes into the DNA of plants, animals, humans, embryos, giving rise to superviruses, all sorts of weird genetically modified funguses killing trees. I've seen the university reports that it's GMO doing it, the bees dying. And that's nothing. I've had Nobel Prize winners on who were making millions of bucks a year making this stuff, and they said, look, all of the mice would die. All the guinea pigs would die. All the rats would die. They would get deformities after utero, which we thought was impossible. These aren't cancers. These are mutations while they're alive that are non-cancer related. I mean, this is like the movies where you mutate right there, you know, in the course of months. And now we're all eating it. It's all happening. Again, you get back to the elite. They just want to kill people. They want to screw everything. Monsanto said in '99 in a public statement they were going to infect the entire biosphere, then claim ownership of it with their GMO. Steve Quayle, we're going to go to the calls here in a moment, but, I mean, these people are just out of their minds.
Well, not only they're out of their minds because they have a mind of collective evil that is kind of like the Borg version of Luciferianism on steroids, okay? And I don't know any way to be more pronounced than that. We were talking, Alex, off air, that the bats and the bees dying. Gee, does anybody ever think that the stuff that will kill humans that's on a Schedule 4 with the Environmental Protection Agency that's sprayed in aerosol form might be killing the bats and bees? Let me tell you this. I've been told by someone who is no longer with the federal government, I don't even know if they're alive or dead. My prayer is that they're alive. The bottom line is that the reason the bats are dying, that the diseases that are going to be released will be infected in the insect population. Obviously, bats are responsible for pollination, as bees are. But the point that I don't think people are putting two and two together on is that the entire, if you will, created realm of God's splendor and excellence is under attack. And we're coming into this dark, man-made, God-like complex that says that men, in their rebellion, in their total denial of the King of Glory, can do what they please and they don't need God.
Well, that's the thing. If you go to the superconducting heavy collider in Switzerland, they got videos on there where they're saying, we don't know what it'll do. And then they admit, yeah, it could create black holes. Yeah, it could create a strangelet. Yeah, it could destroy the Earth. And we're just going to do it, and we're going to do all these tests, and we're going to collide heavy particles together, and the equations show it could cause, huge problems. But, it's this crazy. I mean, I've got this clip of these transhumanists talking about how they want to kill everybody, and, how the Terrans will die, and all this. I mean, these people are nuts. I mean,
But they're not only nuts, but remember, they're not insane. They are focused, they are determined, they are well-funded. These guys use the money that gives them the power and the ultimate power of life and death. It's the same thing. When I've seen the chimeras, if you will, the transgenic human-animal hybrids, you don't see anything that looks, warm and cuddly. These are some of the most horrific, nightmarish-like creations out there. And by the way, mythology was based on a lot of this stuff has already been. Solomon said there's nothing new under the sun. That which will be has already been. But when you're talking about opening up portals, I can tell you point blank that dealing with stargates is probably one of the most difficult things for people to wrap their minds around. Jesus said this, that he's going to build his church on faith in the living God, and that the gates of hell will not prevail. See, everybody said, well, what's a gate of hell? They think, like, fortunately, somebody's going to chase you around with a wrought iron gate. That's not what he meant. So we're in a time period now where the prophecies that were sealed up for so many years are coming forward. I'm not talking about Nostradamus and Mother Shipton and all this stuff. I'm talking about specific statements as to the time that we live in. Men's hearts failing them for fear of looking after those things coming upon the earth. Listen, Alex, the seismic stuff. I just posted a website out of India. I posted a story on my website out of India about a pilot flying at 20,000 feet that sees a huge wave from 20,000 feet, calls it in, and they warn the Nicobar Island region of the area that was wiped out by the tsunami in 2004. The point is they warned him about that, and the deal is, guess what? Not one mention of this. Do you know how tall a wave would have to be seen from that distance? I mean, huge. So the point is, that's where we're at. We're at a period where
Steve, stay there. On the internet side of this broadcast, I'm going to take some calls from the 512-646-5400 during this 3-minute break, and we'll come back on the main network transmission right now. If folks want to hear this, go to the Infowars.com streams right now and click on those streams to hear Steve and I. So that's how you're able to tune into that. We will continue. Okay, let's go ahead and go to Steve here. Steve, let's take some calls. Let's talk to Harvey in Florida. Harvey, you're on the air. Thanks for holding.
Yes, hiya, Steve. Hiya, Alex. God bless and protect you both. If people doubt for 1 second what you guys talk about, they could go to Genzyme, Genzyme, Transgenics Corporation. They make human pharmaceuticals in the milk of cows, part human, part cow, part sheep, part people.
Well, I mean, I had the CEO of the Spider Goat Company on 7 years ago from the military base. He did. There's just one of the plants, one of the facilities in upstate New York. We even have an affiliate there. It was bizarre. The guy was a listener, and he was in the news, CBS News. We called him, we got him on, and they had the part goat, part arachnid, part spider, and I had listeners calling up saying I was a liar. I mean, why, Steve and for Harvey, why can't the public realize it is 2008? It is Blade Runner. Go ahead.
Well, because it's too uncomfortable, and I think that with the mind control mindset that's been out there, people want to stay basically entertained but don't want to think any longer.
Hey, I'm a pretty tough guy, and I don't want to believe all this, Steve.
Well, I understand, but Alex, the difference is that when confronted with overwhelming overwhelming sources, you will come to the conclusion that, look, you can't deny it any longer. Look, I don't want to believe this stuff either, okay? I look at my grandchildren. I got a 3-year-old and a 1-month-old.
God.
I look at my kids. I know.
I never knew what that meant before I had kids, and now children, they're just little angels, and they're so innocent, and you think that Satan is like to cut them up and torture them. It just... Go ahead, Steve.
Well, yeah, and see, this is something that you asked me. Can I just go on that? Listen, the Luciferians require a blood sacrifice, okay? That's what the death motivation is on the dark side of the equation. They're not happy with 1 million people. They're not happy with 100 million people dead. They're not even happy with 1 billion. They want the ultimate blood sacrifice. Now, let me share this. People don't understand this.
No, I've got all these transhumanists in my film Endgame, and hundreds of other quotes I didn't have time to put, where they say, we are suicidal nihilists. These are billionaires. We can't wait to slaughter and murder everyone, including ourselves.
Right.
It's like
they hate themselves, okay? And the commandment for the Christian redeemed by the blood of the Lamb is, thou shalt love the Lord your God with all your heart, and your neighbor as yourself. These people cannot love themselves, therefore they must destroy their neighbors, because, see, it all boils down to the image and likeness of God. Image is one thing. Image means that you bear semblance, an exterior semblance, but likeness means you act like Him. You've heard somebody say, well, you like my...
No, I mean, they take on the mantle, they take on the cloak of the system they worship. Stay there, we're coming back live right now. Stay there, Harvey. Okay, we're taking calls right now during the breaks on the internet side. Joining everybody right now, Steve Quayle's our guest, stevequayle.com. They'll be staying with me 15, 20 minutes into the next hour. We're going to go into overtime. I seem to do this every show now. I just love it. Yeah, this isn't hard for me to do 4 hours, folks. I love it. Problem is pulling myself away from it. Steve, then Harvey, I want you to finish up your point, because you bring up a key point. You were talking about the elite. I was talking about these transhumanists, top weapons makers, billionaires. They're all part of the same clubs. I use the Dr. Pianka case. She's one of tens of thousands of top professors at UT here in Austin who went to an award ceremony with over 1,000 people, and the paper reported he got a 95% standing ovation when he would show an image of red skulls and say, 90% of us will die. It's going to be wonderful. I know my family's going to die too. You go to his website at the University of Texas. He's dressed up like a druid. He says he's a druid. He says, I love Lucifer on the website. You can't, folks, this is not a joke. This is the UT website of this guy. You say, well, he's just a nut. You know, he's just a nut biologist. No. He has access to weapons laboratories. UT has level 4 weapons labs in their biology department. He has access to the nuke reactor they have in Austin. You tell the public there's a nuke, they've been preconditioned not to say there's not a research nuke at the J.J. Pickle Research Laboratory in North Austin off of Breaker Lane in Mopac. But again, 95%, where it went on for minutes, the papers reported just, yes, kill them, kill us, kill, oh, death, oh, murder, oh, God, death, oh, yes. I mean, Steve, I don't think they understand. This is their spirit. They just, murder everyone, murder and kill children, murder, death, blood. Oh, God, it's beautiful. You know, they said Hitler would go to the front lines and watch with his binoculars for hours, burning cities and death, and would go inspect dead bodies at hospitals and just, black uniforms, black Stuka bombers, black smoke, death, piles of dead bodies. Oh, it's so beautiful. I mean, I don't think they can understand that, Steve.